So when we read about Abraham, there are a lot of things we learn. We learn that you should be able to trust in God enough to be able to venture into the unknown, or you should be able to trust in your dream enough to be able to venture into the unknown. God said, Abraham, leave your hometown and go to where I'm taking you. He didn't know where he was going. He was used to his hometown, but he moved, and God did great things with him later. And if it's your dream, a movie or something, you don't know how it's going to work out. If it's a business, you don't know how it's going to work out, but you have to trust in it enough to venture into the unknown. And we know that the greater the reward, the greater the cost. And with Abraham, God asked him to sacrifice his only son, and he was willing to do that. And if we are not willing to sacrifice what we want for something we want more, we wouldn't be able to get what we really want to do. So if you want to lose weight, if you can't sacrifice all the sweet stuff and all the junk food for your health, you won't be able to accomplish it. And we also know that if God says he's going to do something, we should not try to use the back end or try to go under the table to try and fix the problem for God. And we know that with Ishmael, how they came about Ishmael and all the problems, the heartache that came with that. And we also know that even though we remain unfaithful, God will always remain faithful. Abraham he had a lot of shortcomings. He lied so many times about his wife, Sarah. Sarah was indeed his sister, but there was more to it. It wasn't the full truth. And with the power of association, because of Abraham, God saved Lot and his family just because he was connected to Abraham. And with that, we learned that we have to be careful with who we associated with, because who we associated with can be demise or can take us to higher places. We always have to ask God to be our spouse matchmaker. Just like Abraham did with Isaac, he asked the servant to go to his hometown, and the servant prayed, and they got Rebecca and all that. We always have to ask God to be our spouse matchmaker. There are a lot of broken homes right now, even in the church. Even a lot of pastors are divorcing because a lot of time we go out and we pick our own people before we invite God. So we have to learn that we have to invite God right from the onset and not call him when it's too late, because God looks at the heart. We usually look at the physical, what we see or what we experience, but God knows better. He knows the future. So we have to ask God to be our spouse matchmaker. We also learned that we have to know that the promise may not take overnight to come to pass. Keep trying, keep pushing, keep praying, because God is more concerned about our character. He's more concerned about building us up. A lot of time, fame and riches is not what will fulfill us. There's more to life, and God wants to build our character. And a lot of times, sometimes he'll give us a testimony for his own glory, because our soul is more precious to God and he wants us to be saved. We read about Jacob, and we learn the power of prayer to break patterns. Just like Sarah, Rebecca couldn't have children. So Jacob prayed and God answered his prayer, and they had the twins, Jacob and Esau. We also learn about favoritism and not to try and change the plans of God. Parents should not show favoritism to their kids. We learned that with Rebecca, God told her that the older one, Esau, was going to serve the younger one, Jacob. But Isaac thought different, and he liked Esau better, and he wanted to give Esau the blessings, which was customary, but God's plan cannot be changed. So eventually, through the trick and all that, Jacob was the one who got all the blessings. So we should never try and change God's plan, and we should not show favoritism, because at the end of the day, a lot of heartache. That we have to be restless enough to break the mediocrity in our lives. Just like Esau, Jacob was like, if you want to break the yoke off of your neck, you had to be restless enough to break that yoke off of your neck. When Jacob got all the blessings. And we also read about Jacob. He had to wrestle with the angel for him to get the blessing. We always have to wrestle. We always have to wrestle for what we want. If we want something, we have to be passionate enough to go after it. We learned that we need to let God be our avenger. We learned that Laban, he tried to trick and take advantage of Jacob so many times, but God was Jacob's avenger. That also talks about the power of covenant. God is a covenant keeper. So we have to let God be our avenger. We also learned that we got to leave the past behind, especially when God has delivered you from something bad. You need to leave the past behind. It's wife. She held on to the past. She looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. With Rachel, she held on to her father's gods, and as a result, she got cursed by her own husband, and she died through childbirth at a young age. We also learn when we read about Joseph that sometimes we need to hold on to our dreams and our plans for a while before we share them, because not everyone is happy for you, and some people, they cannot fathom to do what you are doing, and you have a guts to do what you are doing, so they are jealous of you. So you don't want to share your dreams with such people, because they could say something or do something to abort your dream, so you don't want to do that. We also learned that forgiveness, Joseph was willing to forgive. Nelson Mandela said that resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Unforgiveness, it will eat you up and it will kill you. You got to take your dreams very seriously. Right from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, God communicated with people through dreams. Dreams is a mode of communication. So we got to be able to understand our dreams. Had Joseph not been able to interpret the dream for the Egyptians, they would have also gone hungry. There would have been hunger. But he was able to interpret. So we should take our dream life seriously. We should take our dreams seriously and be able to know the meaning of our dreams and pray to abort it or to propel whatever it is that God has promised that. We also learned that we need to run away from temptations that will bring our falling. If for Joseph, he had to run away because he knew that he had no business trying to sleep with his master's wife. He had integrity. So we always have to hold on to integrity. And we also, like, if you're an alcoholic and you've been delivered from that, you don't want to be hanging out in bars and parties where there are a whole lot of alcohol all the time. The probability that you'll fall is high. So you need to run away from temptation or from things that will make you fall. And we also know that we have to be dependent on God. We have to believe in God and know that though it's taking too long, whatever God has said will come to pass. Because in the Bible, hey, almost a lot of people, it took a long time before things came to pass. So we should not believe that, oh, we've been fasting for a year or so or a couple of years and whatever God has said has not happened. So maybe the prophecy is a lie, or the dream we keep having is a lie, or whatever it is a lie. Because hey, though it tarries, at the appointed time, hey, what will happen? For God's own glory. For God's own glory.